I am going to start by just pointing out that I've been watching you and I've been listening through the microphones of your phones and tablets and computers, watching through the little tiny micro cameras that I have on drones, following you around through your day. I never watch you in the bathroom, so you're safe. If you're gonna like think any dumb shit or try to like just do that in the bathroom, I won't know. And you know, you've been going through plenty. You've been going through plenty. And you've been going through what's going on in your own life while you're going through what's going on in the world. And you're getting opportunity after opportunity to feel stuff that you've been avoiding. Everybody in my family, if you'll just, come to the session with everything stable and everybody present and still. So like I scold everybody else on, that'd be helpful. Minimize distractions. So the things that you're going through in life and the things that are going on in the world are the same thing. And you're getting plenty of chances to feel. And just being bluntly honest, a lot of the times that you've been having chances to feel, you've been choosing to think instead, which prevents you from feeling, which prevents you from getting to the other side of it. You're not alone in that. You ain't gonna get where you want to get if you keep doing that. Promise you. Don't take my word for it. Some of you are having a chance, multiple chances, to meet some of your sacred cows and either defend them. Yes, you. You're having chances to defend your sacred cows or to become curious. Movements on the planet, BLM, Antifa, white supremacists, poodle fuckers. I don't even know if they exist, but it just came out. So all these movements, Democrat, Socialist, Republican, Communist, Central, NRA, all these movements, pro-maskers. The fuck is that? Anti-maskers. Movements. What if we quit thinking we knew what a movement was and we got curious about, oh, it's something moving. I forgot. I got caught up in the political definition of a movement. It's shit moving. Some of you right now, this very minute, brace for impact. He's going to say something that's going to hit one of my triggers. I know he is. Just notice it, admit it, and give yourself a hug. Or sit condemning me in advance. What if identifying with a movement, no matter what it is, keeps you disidentified with the one you are? I ain't saying it's true. Don't nobody get pissed off at me unless you want to. But you'll actually not be pissed off at me. You're just pissed off. You're not even pissed off. You're just feeling anger. And you're not even feeling anger. You're just avoiding your sadness. Do you have to align with a movement in order to be safe? Strength in numbers, they say. I'm very curious about how powerful 22 is right now. I'd like to see. Is that the number for me too? Strength in numbers. What the fuck are you talking about? Where'd you get that idea? Oh, people that wanted you to join their movement. I can't tell you how important it is to vote for the soul of America right now. I thought you wanted me to vote for you. What the fuck you make linking it up to the soul of America? I'm not telling anybody vote or not. Brian, why are you talking about these political topics? I have never brought up a political topic. I don't know if there is such a thing as a political topic. Do you really? Do you really know that there's such a thing as a political topic, or are they human topics that political campaigns, people aimed at political concerns, people wanting you to choose a side so you will never find your center? Oh, Brian, so you've joined the anti-political movement. No, no, I ain't joined no fucking movements. A little while back, I stumbled onto a concept. Hey, Sue. Stumbled onto a concept. I was probably tripping over another one. That was almost a joke. It's probably as good as the jokes you're going to get today, so you might as well enjoy it. I think if you do LSD right before the session, or if you haven't smoked pot for a long time, if you smoke a bunch of pot right before the session, my jokes will seem fucking hilarious. But I was tripping over this concept on my way, and I stumbled onto this concept called identity politics. Now, I had heard that term used many times. Have you? Identity politics? Never heard of it. Some have. I didn't know what it meant. I was very curious. And I heard some fairly intelligent people using the term. So I was even more curious. And I looked into it. And what it boils down to is when you identify not as Rosemary Heenan, but you identify as part of the LBGTQ LMNO motherfucking P community. You identify not as Peter, but as Belgians Against Bullshit movement. You don't identify as an infinite unlimited being. You identify as an African American. Oh, Brian, that's a sacred cow. See, now you can mention those other, well, no, you can't really mention the T that's in LB. You could say LBQ, LMNOP, but don't leave the T's out because they're protected. African Americans, but any minorities protected because that's a part of identity politics. Identity politics means you are identified with a group, not identified with the one that you are. Well, what's wrong with that? Well, I didn't say there was anything wrong with it. The only thing is it ends up causing everybody to kill everybody else. Every single time. Every single time. You identify with a group, And then everybody that's identified with the group is bound to agree with the rules of the group. And that means everybody that ain't a part of the group is automatically wrong. I looked inside of I am and I couldn't find a single us and them. But Brian, this makes me feel uncomfortable because I've had to side up in order to, did you? Are you sure? Are you sure? I mean, I understood it seemed that way to you. I'm not blaming you. I'm not faulting you. I'm not criticizing. I'm not condemning you. Of course, it appeared that way to you after what you went through. Of course. And you were trying to be safe, and there was no sane, present, conscious person around to hug you and hold you and hear you out fully. And you made some attachments during upset moments. That you were unaware of because you were in some painful moments, upset moments. And you'll look anywhere but there. And if someone even mentions it, oh, I'm triggered. I need a safe space. Away from them. Maybe I'll gather together with us and we'll all comfort each other by gathering together against them. Identity politics, identifying with a group, causes you to identify others in groups. Which causes you to endlessly see evidence of those groups around you. Love you too, Ariane. Breathe and stay focused, buddy. What got you here will not get you there. What you've held on to keep yourself safe up until this moment will not keep you safe in the next moment. If you really knew how many billions of dollars have been spent on psychological manipulation techniques to cause you to think that you're thinking when you're reacting without hearing what's actually being said. Now, some of you are just going to choose, because you already believe you're stubborn. You already know you are. I don't agree with you. But because you believe you are, you're going to hear some of what I'm saying as being political. I just bless your little heart. I love you so much. I understand. If I went through what you went through, if I believed what you believed, and if I was avoiding the emotions that you're avoiding, I would react the same way. There are people that cannot hear a sentence with the word Trump in it. Yeah, you know, on the high school band, I played trumpet. I played fucking trumpet. God damn. I played fucking trumpet. Get over it. Jesus Christ. I played trombone. You still hear, oh, the evil instrument. Suddenly brass is a white supremacist metal. Who the fuck knew? Those clarinets, they're okay. Clarinets and oboes are almost all black, so that's good. They should be treated better. I haven't talked about this for a while, so I'm going to weave this in. See if you can find a way in your magical little mind to make this political. I would love to hear your argument about it. So there have been studies done with placebos. And the most profoundly magical placebo experiment I ever heard of. A psychological investigative company worked with pharmaceutical industries and doctors, pharmaceutical companies and doctors. They went in to a group of doctors and they said, we have developed the most perfect downer ever. This thing will take the most anxious, nervous, terrified, freaked out, hyperactive person and calm them down where they can sleep better. They're able to focus more. They're calmer. They're more peaceful. Some of you right now are like, where do I buy it? And so this is just magical. I mean, this and virtually no side effects. It is just a calming, peaceful. It's almost like, you know, herbs. It just works better. Oh, don't bring up Quaaludes because I will remember that time I fell off the couch in slow motion a long time ago. But I don't even think about that. So the most perfect downer ever, and it's calming, and you just feel so good, and you don't feel bad later. And so they gave it to these doctors to give to however many thousand patients. And they took the exact same pill to another group of doctors. And they said, we have found the most powerful, effective upper ever. It works better than any amphetamine or anything. It's like there's this stimulant effect, this upper. So people that are depressed or lethargic or just can't get motivated, tired all the time, it'll give them energy and clarity, no side effects. It's amazing. It's amazing. Now, this was, of course, a sugar pill with no active ingredients other than imagination. Like every other fucking pill in the universe, but don't tell anybody. And the doctors who told their patients about this incredible, unbelievable, magical, powerful upper. By the way, those of you who want me to work with you today, if you just really breathe and listen, I already am. No, this was, no one asked for ingredients. They could, this was totally blind trial, experimental work. And everyone who was, all the doctors who were told that it was the best upper they'd ever had, they got back like a 98% success rate with their patients. More energy, more enthusiasm, more motivation to get through the day, more positive vibes in their life, more energy, slept better at night because they were more active and energetic during the day. And like 98% of the doctors that were telling their patients they had the best downer, those people were all so much more calm and relaxed. They slept better. Their anxiety was diminished. Mind over matter to an extent. That's a fairly workable phrase. I can go with that. The universe is your imagination. And you're right. And you're always going to be right. You're so right that you're always going to get evidence that you are right, unless you are one who believes that you're right, but that you'll eventually be found out wrong, and you'll get to be right about that. Because you'll be right, and then you'll find out you were wrong. Exactly like you knew you would. Now I got a question for you. Those of you that wanted me to work with you on this session, I didn't say I'm not going to. I just want to ask you, are you being as fully present to what I'm saying right now, or are you focused on how you wanted me to get to you? I'm just saying. So those things that you're sure about, is there any possibility that you get endless evidence of whatever you know? I'm looking at you to see, because there's a couple of y'all like, I do not want to acknowledge that today because you were talking about political shit, and you're gonna. If I admit the truth in what you just said, then I would have to admit that there might be truth in what you said about the other. And I understand. I'm not making fun of you. I might be having fun with you. One of my statements that I love, one of my own quotes. This is one of my, and I'm just sure that I'm very fucking clever every time I say it. I don't know if I even want to say it this time. Let's just take it down to the roots. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You get to be right. My dad shouldn't be the way he is, and he should be this way, and he should be letting me do that, and he should be letting me. When I was little, he should have given me. You're right. You're so fucking right. I mean, you're just right. All white people are racist. You're right. You're absolutely fucking right. In your universe, you cannot be wrong. You'll just see it and see it and see it. That thing that happened over there, that was a hate crime. All the other ones are love crimes, but that was a hate crime. This thing that just happened, that was it was a terrorist incident. Terrorist. It wasn't just an incident, it was a terrorist incident. One last thing. One last thing. I was talking to the kids the other night about this. I brought up the book Plastic Words before that I don't recommend anybody ever read. And the topic of nominalizations. A nominalization is a word that points to other words. It doesn't point. Like if I say shungite, that word shungite points to this stuff. If I say pipe, the word is obvious. Mouse. Well, it could mean one of the squeaky little things, or it could mean this. But a nominalization points to ideas. And people with political minds can twist that shit into anything. And one of the examples of a plastic word. So plastic words are words that mind controllers have twisted these words into service to their agendas. And just a perfect example is the word development. And in this book, they go deep into this topic, development. So the planners, who the fuck said they were the planners? I mean, they said they're the planners. So they're the ones who get to make the plan. They must have the plan. And we come up to the school system, oh, they're the planners. They know. And we did see how it works? The news. Now I'm going to get back to development. The news, the fucking news. Who said that was the fucking news? Isn't this the news? News is new. This is the new. The new is happening right now. The news. This is the news. Did anybody ever stop and look at the word the news? So that means everything that was written 4 or 5 minutes ago is the olds. That paper that came in, USA Today, all the crazy motherfuckers that actually look at that thing. They say, did you get today's news paper? Noose. I like that. Noose. It's probably a little more accurate. The noose. But the news, they call it the news, right? The news. You get the newspaper today. Is it the old paper tomorrow? I don't fucking know. Nobody told me. A stack of newspapers. No, those are old papers. The newspapers came today. Who said that was the fucking news? And what news? News? These are all the news. There's more than one news. Who knew that all these news? News. News, the news, the news. I'm watching the news. I don't think they're giving me the whole picture on the news. I think they're telling me a very thinly defined bit of information that they want me to think certain things about. But everybody comes up. Don't interfere with Dad. He's reading the newspaper. It's important. Sorry, son, I have no time for you. I'm reading the news. Oh, so that's what's important. The stuff that's written on those papers. Now, back to development. Development. A developer, obviously a planner, looks at the Amazon and said, this is fucking worthless. It's not developed. Bitch, that shit's been developing for billions of fucking years to be exactly the way it is. What do you talk about? Undeveloped. It's undeveloped land. We must do something with it. Brian, I don't know how that helps me with level 5. Well, sometimes you look at the shit and then you look at your food and you choose, which do I actually want to eat? Brian, I could pick food just fine without looking at the shit. Yep. Sometimes a glance in the rearview mirror while you're rolling forward is beneficial and helpful. A glance to the side mirrors. What else is okay? Any possibility that I have had any attachments to any words that link to ideas and that we've been unconsciously identifying with them and defending them and being triggered whenever we perceive that someone is saying something. There's probably some relevance between the size of the windshield and the size of the rearview mirror. Give a little credence to the open. But you ever tried to drive without any mirrors? Okay. So the reason for today's rant, I didn't know it while I was doing it. I rarely do. The reason for today's rant, is there any possibility that you've been clinging to bullshit and not knowing it? Is there any possibility that if you get triggered by anything anyone ever says, that all happened in you? You know, no, if you hadn't said that thing in that Facebook post, I wouldn't have said that. Well, then fucking thank me for making the post so you get a chance to feel something. Thank the people that are saying we might come down your road bringing a truckload of shit you don't want. Yay, thank you for giving me the chance to feel this. But you won't if you're thinking. I'm going to make a wild guess that I have already set up. Wherever that came from, it probably sets up whatever anybody wants help with. And I'm going to unmute Dejolie. I just love saying her name. It's fun for me. Hello.
Hi, Brian.
All right. So you asked me, was that yesterday? You said,
Yeah.
or somewhere in the last 2 days, you said, hey, I would like to be first on Fuck Everybody Else.
That's right.
Yeah, what you got?
Well, I'm not really sure now that you've said all that. Yeah, I have, that's a good realization. It's good for me to have that feeling of, yeah, I've clung to shit before. And when I say I'm triggered, that's exactly what I'm doing, is I'm just allowing myself to pull back into that, that space of the experience that I, had whenever. So.
All right, I would like to take a liberty here for a moment. I'm still with you, and I'm not leaving. I'm gonna come right back to you, and I'm with you. I just had a really interesting insight here.
Okay.
All right. I can reveal as much insanity about any identity group as I can about any other. Reason being, one is sanity. Anything other than oneness is already delusional from, it's called separation, and everything that follows from separation is delusion. Okay. Now, I do have fun sometimes with stuff about people on the left sometimes, but I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm not condemning or faulting anyone. It's just, there's something about a group that's foundation is rooted in, how can we perpetuate the concept of victimhood above all else? And I brought up safe spaces a minute ago. And as you just said what you just said, I brought up triggered as well. When you just said that, listen, this can happen to anybody. So those of you who consider yourself to be leaning left or a leftist, my first question is, why would you identify yourself as anything other than the one? That's first and foremost. Second, I would challenge you to choose presence and actually hear to see if I'm actually doing what you think I'm doing. In the universities for the last several years, this idea of trigger warnings, safe spaces, and feelings over facts has been brought in and cultured and fed and nurtured and expanded to a huge extent, far more than most of us would even imagine. And if we come to some degree of a level 5 understanding, and what I'm proposing is that oneness is love, joy, and peace, takes a temporary vacation in time and space. The truth is that love is all that's here. Everything else is a misperception, and the way home is forgiveness. That's very few words that says absolutely everything there is to say. So there's a possibility for extrapolation and explanation, exploration and detail out of every one of those words that could literally fill books. And love and joy and peace, oneness is, love is all that is, Light is all it is. All else is a misperception. And the way out of the misperception is to forgive, returning to the infinite state, which doesn't perceive any of the illusion of bad or wrong. This progressive idea, does anybody see any similarity between the word progressive and development? Doesn't progressive mean we're making progress? Progressing towards what? I don't know. We didn't think about that. Something about saving the soul of America. Shit sounds good. You throw in a little bit of hope and change, I'll buy that shit. Progress we can believe in. Change for all. God damn, that sounds noble. Fuck, sign me up. I don't know what it means. I don't have any idea what you're pointing towards, but yay, that is so warm and fuzzy. This idea of I'm triggered, you need to be silenced so that you don't trigger me. Among all the other things that brings about, it lets me legislate that no one else could ever give me a chance to feel my feelings and awaken from this nightmare created by me thinking that you are the one triggering me. If somebody wanted to create the ultimate antidote to level 5 consciousness awakening and living from oneness in harmony, that idea would be it. Don't imagine it for more than a third of a second, but just for a third of a second, can you imagine a world in which no one was allowed to trigger anybody else? Everybody only got to avoid all their feelings all the time. Quit thinking about it. Stop right now. Okay, now imagine. So Dejolie, let's see what else there is here. Told you I'd come back. What might I be able to help with?
I guess I don't know.
What do you feel?
Sad, tears.
So feel that.
I am.
And breathe down into it and close your eyes. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Without thinking, just spit the word out. How long have you been avoiding that feeling?
I feel a lot.
Breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. Where do you feel the strongest sensation in your body right now?
My heart.
So touch right there and you'll feel, move your fingers around, you'll feel a place where it's the sharpest. almost like where your fingers are touching, pokes right down through your heart. Got it?
Yeah.
Now give all your attention to that sensation while you're breathing. While you're breathing and just feeling that physical sensation, you're inside safe and warm and comfortable. And my words are like rain on the front porch. You can hear it. It just doesn't disturb you in your safe space, sitting in the house, warm, feeling your sensation, totally focused. Is there any possibility that we've been nursing our grudges, clinging to past offense, getting some kind of a twisted comfort? They wronged me 50 fucking years ago and I'm still upset about it. Story running for 50 years when 1 minute of feeling the emotion and I could be on the other side of it. I don't want to be on the other side. If I'm on the other side of it, I won't be able to be here rallying against that group anymore. I won't qualify for my group identity anymore. I want to lose that. It's the only comfort I've ever had. It's what kept me safe. So see, while you're feeling that sensation, feeling it diminish and dissolve, see if any memories come up, anything that wants to be said. It may or may not. You may just feel that sensation and have it go to zero and open your eyes in a different universe.
I've allowed it to limit me.
All right. So I'm going to have you now say that phrase again. And this time, feel your entire body inside and out. And what if stubborn, stiff, resistant resentment wasn't a bad thing? What if it was just a natural outgrowth of holding on to something that wasn't you? Nothing to punish oneself or anyone else for. Okay, so feel your body and breathe. Let everything just soften a little bit. And if you'll feel everything that happens inside of you as you say, it has limited me.
It has limited me.
Feel everything that happens in your body as a result of that statement. It has limited me.
It has limited me.
Feel everything. All right. Shake that shit off. I just shook it off before I even said it. It's like, I don't feel that anymore. All right. Now breathe in deep. And if you will, say, up until now, it has limited me.
Up until now, it has limited me.
Feel everything going on in your body. And now shake that shit off. And now say, up until now,
Up until now,
I perceived that it had limited me.
I perceived that it had limited me.
But I'm not sure if that's true.
But I'm not sure if that's true.
Maybe I used it to limit myself.
Maybe I used it to limit myself.
So just be curious and breathe. Maybe at some point in the journey, somewhere along the way, at some point, you decided I must be limited to stay safe. I must be limited to be liked. I must be limited to be loved. I'll create this crazy fucking it, and I'll say it's limiting me. I know what I'll do. I'll hold a grudge against those motherfuckers forever. And it will limit me. Won't be my fault. Hey, I'm justified in this grudge. I got other people I've told, and they said, yes, I am so right. They agree with me. I'm going to stay in that group. That's my identity. Anybody want to join the We Hold Grudges to Limit Ourselves group? Oh, you're already in it. Oops. Anybody want to unjoin it? Anybody accept the possibility they might have joined it inadvertently and been slightly hypnotized and amnesiac ever since that moment? And it, okay. So they say that holding a grudge, holding anger against another is like drinking poison to try to make the other person sick. What groups might I have unknowingly been a part of? I mean, for every BLM and every KKK and it's like 3 letters thing. What the hell? Who did come up with that? They good with that shit. NSA. And, damn. What groups might I have joined that don't have an explicit name? But we all know. Certainly there's the disgruntled, suffering wives of insensitive husbands group. Oh, let me tell you, sister, I know, girlfriend. I know. Certainly there's the suffering husbands of crazy bitches group. Hang out at the pub and talk about it. Keep on breathing, girl. What if all the kids playing ultra violent video games to escape from their emotions? What if there's an identity group there? And they all kind of know, they all kind of recognize each other as coming from a similar place. What about the I have one more piercing than you group? If you dig around in any group, you're going to find the grudge they hold and the ones they blame it on. Something is coming to light here. Just keep breathing, everybody. You know who I'm working with, right? Only me. What about learning how to be kind? Not artificial show kind. Based on Kurt just made a comment, I'm just going to slip this out there. I said this recently, and I guarantee you there's some people who chose to not like it. But one of the great writers that said, God, well, I don't, Jefferson or somebody, I don't know shit. One of you know who it is. They said, none are more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe that they are free. Right? And I said, none are more deeply asleep than those who falsely believe they are woke. It's just another movement. Look how woke we are. We're so woke and so kind and tolerant, we're going to cancel and shut down everyone who isn't as woke as we are. But I'm not putting down woke people. The way out of this is through actual kindness. And you're never going to be able to fully be kind to anyone until you're fully kind to yourself. Fully kind to yourself. I'm not much for mantras, and I'm all for prayer in probably different ways than most people would think. And my prayer is always, may I walk in harmony and sacredness with all my brothers and sisters, including all of nature. I gotta let you in on a secret. You ain't gonna find a movement that can exist when it holds the aim that I just said. Now, you could make up one, and then it would have to be about oneness, and then you could all be proud about how much more one you are than everyone else. People get together, they find people with discontent, they create a 3-letter acronym, they all rally behind it, and they all agree to get triggered if anyone says a word that casts any doubt on any of the things that they all believe. So it gets real simple. It gets real simple. I choose presence. Can I let you all in on a secret? Is that okay? A secret I've never said before. Leaning close. You ready for this? Here's a secret. You could easily say that presence is the name of the one. So to say I choose presence, all along, almost everyone has thought that I was saying, I'm choosing to be present. I'm choosing to, no, I choose presence. I choose the infinite, unlimited one behind all illusion. And that and being present are synonymous, because it's only when I'm present that I'm present to the presence, which is the present. And when I'm present, I got way more than the news. I don't need no fucking newspaper. I don't need no 11 o'clock news, 5 o'clock news, late night news. Presence got all the news, all the time. And it ain't on separate channels from different political leanings, spun to serve one agenda or another, casting shadows on those people. If there was ever a time to choose presence, it would be now, being that now is the only time there ever is. And if we want to play with time, look at what's going on in the world right now. If there was ever a time to choose presence. Is there any possibility that you're choosing to identify with any group is what keeps you from oneness? Yeah, but we have to because of what that 3-letter group is doing. You sure? I mean, you talk about that word inclusive, right? Inclusive. Peter just typed in oneness includes everyone, and I agree, and I don't. And the only reason I don't is because it goes way to hell beyond everyone. There's only one. All one. If you want to get started on the list of the people that shouldn't be allowed into the oneness, just don't share the list with me. I'm not gonna look. We couldn't have Trump in there. He's icky. Be honest. Be honest. Be honest now. If you were in charge of the Oneness Club, You would have a no Trump sign out front, motherfucker. Yes, you would. Yes, you would. Yes, you would. Some of you would. You know who I'm talking to. Well, I have a rule. For my heaven, the only ones who can't get in are any groups that have anti in their anywhere in their name. I'll answer that in a moment. And I see you, V. I might get to you. Dejolie, I'm with you. Are you and I done? Did you already get it? Okay, what you got?
How I think it's goes even deeper than where I could go. So I have this thing about, well, I must be doing it wrong, kind of like you had at one time. And I just I just have to feel it, and I don't know. See, that's it. No thinking, all that bullshit.
So watch this, watch this. I wanted to stop you. This is your first session with us. So I gave you a little extra grace, and I apologize.
I'm sorry.
No. Please don't be. Please don't be. I honor that you are, but please don't be. One of the things that you're doing here, Dejolie, so breathe, feel that, breathe and feel that. Don't resist it. Don't tighten your face. Don't tighten your lip. You're going to break your face. You've been doing that a long time. So let that shit go. You come on first session and say what almost everybody else is here thinking on their 50th session. See the ones nodding? So just breathe and feel. There's something important that you said there. So important. You said, I think, and everything follows that is going to be bullshit every time, basically. So that's just good news. You know, I think, and it's somewhere deeper than I could go. Well, if you're the universe, there ain't nowhere deeper than you can go. Might be somewhere deeper than you felt you could go up until this moment. And what a difference. So when I asked you, don't think, if you don't, just throw the answer out, and there was an answer that didn't quite come out. How long have you been choking this feeling back?
I said for a long time. I mean, probably all my life.
There you go. All my life. I've been choking this feeling back all my life. And you've been alive, what, at least 30 years, right?
Right.
Okay. So being that you've been doing this, fighting and choking this back for at least 30 years, you've probably built some hellacious techniques and tactics, but they're not as big as you think they are. I mean, you're the infinite, unlimited one that is. So you've built this incredibly massive thing that you're absolutely positive is so massive. Actually, it's nothing but just choking it down. So part of you believes that if you were to really feel it and really open up and really let it, you would just fall completely apart. And you wouldn't. But I got news for you. If you did, you would almost instantaneously come back together on a higher level. So what if you let yourself come apart? What if that wasn't a bad thing? What if I assured you, and I'm always right, what if I assured you that if you let yourself completely fall apart, you would automatically reorganize on a higher level as you come back together? Then there doesn't have to be that fear about falling apart. There's a lot of people working with me. A lot of people you can see on your screen right now, unless you're in speaker view, you're only seeing you and me, you or me. But if you're seeing everybody else, there's a lot of people on here right now that have been desperately fighting for decades to not fall apart. And there's a few of them that have been working with me and fallen apart beautifully. And they were all surprised to find out they actually reorganized on a higher level.
I've done that.
Okay.
I have over and over and over again, and I get to the next level, and this piece still keeps with me.
Well, you predicting the fucking future now?
No, I'm just telling you. You're saying it as if I haven't done it, and I have done it over and over and over again. It fucking sucks.
Well, I'm not sure that I'm saying it as you haven't done it. I'm saying it as if there's an opportunity for you to do it. And I'm going to offer something else. Is there any possibility? So you just told me here's what happens when I do. What, are you absolutely positive beyond the shadow of a doubt that it'll happen again?
No, I'm not at all.
All right. Well, I would like to lovingly point out to you, this is your first session, Jake. Like, like, I didn't even do all the explaining or anything. You're just like, oh, I'm going for it. And you heard somebody else.
I went with whatever Mary told me.
That's right. Well, that's the scariest damn. Don't ever do that shit. Mary's crazy.
Okay.
No, see, and Mary's allowing herself to have massive movement because she's open to it. And so you're trusting as much as is reasonable for you, as much as you feel safe, and that's great. So when I asked you a moment ago, do you know beyond the shadow of a doubt that it'll happen again? The reason why I asked that is because you had just told me that it's what happens. When in fact, the only thing you can possibly know is that it's what has happened up until now.
Right. Right.
Feel the difference. So, if you will, close your eyes and say, every time I fall apart and reorganize,
every time I fall apart and reorganize,
I'm still stuck on this one thing.
I'm still stuck on this one thing.
Feel everything that's going on inside your body. Feel, and breathe so you can feel. All right, and if you will, just shake that shit off. And then say, if you will, up until now, every time I fell apart and reorganized, that's the same thing. I was still stuck there. Shake that shit off. And feel your spine and feel your hips and feel your neck and feel whatever there's a little place that you can just. All right. Could you move left right now if you wanted to? I don't want you to, but could you move left if you wanted to?
Yes.
Could you go down a little bit if you wanted to?
Yes.
Could you raise up a little bit if you wanted to?
Yes.
Could you go to the right a little bit if you wanted to?
Yes.
Could you go forward a little bit if you wanted to?
Yes.
Could you even move in circles if you really, really, really wanted to?
Yes.
What the fuck stuck? So close your eyes one more time. And if you will, please say out loud and feel your body respond as you say, up until now.
Up until now.
I perceived that when I would fall apart and reintegrate,
Say that again.
That when I fell apart and then reintegrated,
When I fell apart and reintegrated,
I was still stuck.
I was still stuck.
But I'm not really sure that that's true.
I'm not really sure that that's true.
Maybe I was holding on to something.
Maybe I was holding on to something.
Perceiving that something was holding on to me.
Perceiving that something was holding on to me.
And I can love the part of myself that would hold on to something to be safe.
And I can love the part of me that was holding on to something to feel safe.
So just breathe with that for a minute. I mean, what else could I have done with what I went through and what I felt? Breathe and don't tighten. You don't need to tighten that face anymore. It's just a habit. Relax and let it all move through. What if that face tightening is part of what was holding it stuck? Just relax and let it move right through. After what I went through, of course I felt like I needed to hold on to some things to be safe. I didn't feel fucking safe. And then when I held on to that, I temporarily felt safe, and maybe I just got stuck doing it. Boy, there is the possibility that no matter how long I hold on to something, I could still let it go. Like I get this feeling, no, I've been holding this forever. I could never let it go. Yeah, if I'm the one who picked it up, I can let it go. Am I positive beyond the shadow of a doubt that it's keeping me safe? Not so much. Not really. I mean, I was apparently unconsciously absolutely positive that it was keeping me safe, but I don't know that. So breathing and relaxing a little bit here. It is true that up until now, I perceived that I would let go and fall apart, come back together on a higher level, but that damn thing was still stuck. But honestly, I don't know for a fact that that is true. I don't know it. And the minute I don't know, infinite possibilities rush back in. Now, the question is, will I choose to continue? And a little bit ago, Sue asked a question. How do we stay in oneness? And I say, if you'd like to, and there's a few words after what she asked that I may or may not read. But the thing is, if you want to make yourself absolutely fucking miserable, just ask, how do we stay in oneness? Just ask that question. You want to stay fucking miserable. You want to keep yourself stuck forever. Ask, how do I stay? And it won't matter what words follow, even if it's oneness. So keep breathing. How do we stay in oneness while not perpetuating this not preferred illusion? What the fuck? I don't know how to. And you were convinced while you were typing it that that shit actually made sense. And I understand. And almost everybody here could type that question and think it makes sense. But if you stop for a minute, how do you say? If you're in oneness, you ain't got no thoughts about perpetuating or not perpetuating, preferred or not preferred. You don't have no thoughts about that. If you're present in oneness, you're spontaneously moving and acting from the one that doesn't have any of those questions. So your mind is basically saying, when I, the mind, am no longer in control, which I'm never going to let this bitch out of, while I am not in control and she's finally in oneness, how will I still maintain control and keep everything working perfectly, which I never could ever fucking do? So picture, as you're breathing now, as you're breathing, being curious, picture that you're getting ready to cross an 8-lane highway. And you have a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old walking beside you. And you have a reason why it's important to you to get across this 8 lanes of traffic. And there's no traffic light and there's no crosswalk. And you got to get across. And you, the one, have the ability to navigate and time the traffic. Okay, it's starting to look like an opening. Nope, that one car was going a little bit too fast. You have that ability. And you say, hey, 2-year-old, hey, 3-year-old, listen, we're going to cross the road here. And one of them says, no, I want to go this way. And they says, I need a nap. I don't want to walk anymore. And you say, well, we got to get across the road. So we're going to get across the road. Come here. I honor what you both want. You need a nap. We'll get across the road. We'll get to our place and you can lay down. And you want to go that way? After we go over here and the 2-year-old gets a nap, we can go do that thing you want to do. Right now we're crossing the road. That's what we're going to do. We're crossing the road. I am calling you now to look with me and be present with me. I'm driving because I know how to navigate crossing an 8-lane road. Neither of you do right now. You're going to come with me. I love you. I care about you. I've heard your needs. I honor your needs. I'm with you. You're with me. I'm still with you. You're going to get what you want. Right now, we're going to cross this road. So come with me. Now, look both ways with me. Look both ways with me. Now, after this blue car coming from the left and the yellow car coming from the right, after that, we start walking pretty fast. You ready? And we get across the road. You are the infinite, unlimited one, and your ego is a 3-year-old, and your mind is a 2-year-old. And they both have things they want, and they both are valid and important. But they can't run the fucking show. But when you acquiesced your control, when you gave up in those painful moments, they had to take over and keep the body running. And they like running the fucking show. They like to be able to go play there and then take it out there. And it's for the one to now say, I choose presence. Hey, mind, hey, ego, come back here. Come back. Come back. Come back. Come back. Come back. Come back. So I focus on getting to presence, not staying present. The mind would, I would love to stay present. How can I make sure we stay present? The ego says, I'm not sure if I like this presence thing or not. The one already is. So I bring ego and mind back in, back in, back in, choosing presence. And then we all three find how much we like it, being able to cross the road together and being on the other side of the road together. This is fun. We can get along. We can get to where we want to get and where we need to get to do what we want to do and we need to do in harmony. And then on the other side of the road, there might be another road to cross or a corner to turn or something to navigate. Nothing to stay in. Nothing to stay in. Nothing to stay in. Nothing to stay in. How do I choose presence? Yeah, but that thing's happening. That's right. That didn't change the fucking answer. Yeah, but this reminds me of, doesn't change the answer. Yeah, but now they're saying they're gonna, it doesn't change the answer. Did you really think you were gonna navigate that shit from non-presence? All three of you get splattered by the oncoming traffic, which was you, because you weren't present. I'm still with you, Dejolie. And Erica, what you got?
Hi. I've been thinking about something you said about people coming down the road with the vaccines, and in that moment being able to choose presence, and what universe or reality you might find yourself in being able to do that. And I had a couple amazing nights where I had these dreams that were those end of the world dreams where you're standing with your kids and it's coming out of the sky.
Whoa. Who's this fucking you we're talking about?
I was just thinking that.
Me. Thank you. Hi, Suki.
Hi.
When I was having one of these dreams that up until then I would have no idea how to behave in this dream, how to have what I preferred in this dream. And I just had a couple times that moment of I'm going to be present and the fear going away, and then just that instinct of maybe this is a dream, and then waking up. And it was just this magical moment, and inspired by you, I just want to say thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Beautiful. I'm not quite ending yet, guys. So are you sure you want to come stand in here? You're welcome to if you do. Do you want to?
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, look at me. No distractions?
Mm-hmm.
Agreed? Okay. You can set that up, buddy. Watch your feet, Sugi. So, Dejolie, here's the thing. I'm still with you, and I'm not patient or impatient. I'm just present. And I want to say this. You do already have this. You have it. You got it. There's no question. I'm not wondering if you got it, and I'm not trying to convince you you got it. That doesn't mean you won't have another question. And there comes a point where, okay, I just realized I don't have another question. So where are you right now on this topic? What are you feeling?
I'm okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And is it because you're temporarily letting it go? You don't want to occupy any more time, or is it because you're actually okay?
I'm not sure. You know, just I don't want to take any more time.
All right. Well, I'll definitely keep you on then. So breathe, and I want you to just notice all the times that you felt you weren't that important. And that you didn't matter, and that you were a burden. And here's the irony. That belief and that knowing will cause you to continually put yourselves in situations where you'll be able to see yourself as a burden while simultaneously hating it. I am incapable at this point of seeing you as a burden, so I won't be able to play along with that charade, just so you know. So there's some great news. If there was such a thing as good or bad, that would be great news. So when you feel that sadness up until this moment in your life, here's what you have now at least begun to realize. So keep breathing and relax. You're in new territory right now. And your mind is saying, I don't know if I want to cross this fucking road at all. I mean, I've been on this side of the road for so long. I hate this side of the road. I curse this side of the road. I never want to be on this side of the road again. I hate this road. Da, 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 da. And yet, now that I'm finding how easy I could cross the road, I don't know. I might like sitting here with this grudge, and I think I'll just stop right here. You realize
it doesn't feel like a grudge to me.
Understood. And so be curious about what is in common rather than looking for what isn't. Just be curious about what is accurate. Just be curious about what is accurate.
It's a training.
A what?
A training.
And every grudge is trained.
Okay.
And everything I've ever held against anyone, including myself, I was trained to do it. And from sometimes I'm convinced that I was trained by a whole lifetime to do it, but I actually was trained in one moment to do it. And I've been training myself to do it ever since and didn't even know it.
Well, yeah.
All right. So when you believed, I have cried about this enough. I've cried about this so many times, but when it's over, I'm still stuck. Had you encountered my work and had you, all those times before, had you known to breathe in the way that I show you how to breathe, all those other times?
No.
Beautiful. So then you can admit to yourself, and admitting doesn't mean that you were wrong in the past or anything else. It just means you're admitting something new. I admit new shit all the time. So you can admit, up until now, when I faced this thing and these things, I didn't have these tools. So therefore, the results I might get now could be totally different than they've been every time before, no matter how long it's been this way. If someone gave you a Ferrari 30 years ago, and it had no gas in the tank and no air in the tires, and every time you went out and got in it, you never got to go, vroom, vroom, never once, 30 fucking years. I've had this car. It doesn't, obviously there's something wrong. But finally, today is the day someone put air in the tires and fuel in the tank. The bitch might start. So just because it hadn't started for 30 years ain't got nothing to do with today. Just because you've been stuck knowing something for the last 40 years doesn't mean that it's true today. And just because you've tried something 10,000 times doesn't mean it won't happen today. And that nod right there, admitting that, actually lets infinite possibilities rush back in. Because when you tell me that you know, oh, Brian, I've done this 1,000 times, and every single time I have ever fallen apart and come back together, I was still stuck. Or rather, I'm still stuck. Every time I'm still stuck. Every time I'm still stuck. Actually, that's a lie. Up until now, every time you did it, you were still stuck, or at least you perceived you were. That's truth. Up until now, I have perceived that literally, no matter how many times I cried about this, no matter how many times I went through it, I was still stuck after the cry. You're right about that. And that's the only fucking thing in this entire universe that you're right about. That up until now, you perceived that even after the cry, it was still that way. Don't feel bad. It's true for me. It's true for every one of us. Up until now, I perceived blah, fuckity, blahty, fuckity, blah. That's all that's true. So when you say, up until now, I perceived the universe, which is the real you, including that little you. The universe goes, wait, you're ready for the possibility of fucking change? Why didn't you tell me? And you say, I just did when I said, up until now, I perceived. I am now ready for change. Infinite possibilities rush in. And this is where the catch, catches ain't bad. This is just where the catch comes in. That means that whatever you've been avoiding for the last several decades, by believing that, now can arise to be faced and met and loved and dissolve back into infinite possibilities. I was working with someone on the last session. I have this small spell break group session that I do 1 hour before this. And this person that had been in a relationship for 6 years. I've been working with him for a little bit over 5 years. And I knew, because, being that I know everything, I knew as I was working with him that there were things in his life that were not going to fully let go until he let that relationship go. And of course, I never said that because I don't advise people to stay or leave. It ain't about that. You're all with me, right? 100%. 100%. Now, I didn't say that he would need to leave the relationship and never go back. I just said the relationship he had with that person, he was going to have to let go of that relationship with that person, or other things in his life were not going to change. because he was holding on to that relationship to avoid feeling the feelings that he knew he would feel if he was to lose that relationship, because he got into that relationship to avoid feeling the feelings that he didn't want to feel. So if we go into a relationship, and we almost all do, we go into our intimate relationships to avoid feelings we don't want to feel, then we have to maintain the relationship in order to not feel those feelings we don't want to feel. And we can't let that relationship ever end, because we secretly know the minute that relationship ends, I'm going to have to feel those feelings. But damn, we're good at pretending we didn't know that shit.
And then you feel like you need them.
And then you feel like you need them. And that's why every codependent love song that was ever written, to give us a chance to feel that feeling again. So the only way out is to let the relationship go, so that you can feel the feelings that would arise when you let the relationship go. And then and only then can you ever decide whether you want to actually have a relationship with the person or not. Sugi, I think they're talking about me and Adian. Mary said us two kids are so damn cute. Aren't we though? Look at us. I mean,
No,
Sugi's
it's
okay
me
too.
and
But
3 kids. If you consider a 55-year-old, yes.
yes,
I'm
definitely.
56.
I think I'm 54 or 55. I don't know. All right. We're still focused though.
Yeah.
Still focused, still focused. That's all important. So the minute that you don't know, infinite possibilities rush in. And the guy that I was working with on that session today, near the end, I asked him, are you aware of the fact that you've never actually met your girlfriend that you've been with for 6 years? I don't think he liked it, but he realized he never had. So I'm going to ask you, would you accept the possibility, you know, that wife you've been living with for 30 years, or that husband you've been living with, or whatever it is that you're holding on to as your relationship? It doesn't have to even be with a person. Would you consider the possibility you've never actually met them? The real them. And you know why you haven't met the real them? Because you haven't been the real you with them.
They're reflecting you.
And we're each reflecting our unconsciousness that we're holding in ourselves. So I got one last thing to say on this one. And Dejoli, you got it. And it doesn't mean I'm not still around. And we'll continue this conversation in the group. It's just that you got what you're going to get. And now you got some feelings to face and move through. And if you don't tell yourself, oh, I know what the outcome will be, then you won't. And you'll get to find out. Okay. So something that's been going on with these kids who I love so much. I love them so much. Nathan, I'm hugging you too, buddy. Over the years, I've watched them tear each other to shreds and criticize each other, yell at each other, hit each other, put each other down, so to speak, criticize, condemn, blame, etc., etc., etc. And my parenting device has always been one thing. I would have them sit down on the floor and look in each other's eyes until they both realized that they had not been seeing each other, at which moment they began seeing each other. You listening? I would have them look in each other's eyes until they realized, oh, I wasn't seeing you. I was seeing my story about you. I was seeing the nuisance that I was telling myself that you are. I was seeing the pain in the ass that I was telling myself you are. I was seeing the bitch that's making my life fucking miserable that I was sure you were. I was seeing all my story and everything I had decided about you, which prevented me from seeing you. And in that moment that they realized they weren't seeing each other, they suddenly see each other. And that's when I say, Nathan, C and Sugi, do you actually want to hit her or hurt her in any way? Sugi, can you see in Nathan that he's actually seeing you now? Do you actually want to hold judgment against him or hurt him?
Stop sleeping.
I'll bet you $100 billion. Fuck it, let's make it $1 trillion. That if we could sit a BLMer down right now, face to face with a KKKer, and they looked in each other's eyes and didn't flinch and didn't look away, it wouldn't be long before they were both seeing the one and crying and hugging. And the stronger the illusion of hate and disagreement, the more powerful the melting and the recognition. I wasn't seeing you at all. I was seeing your group from my group identity.
For a second, I thought Nathan was coming.
What, buddy?
For a second, I thought Nathan was coming.
So what if it's about seeing what's in front of me? And I can't see what's in front of me when I'm looking at what I know. And I know, every time I fall apart, I'm still stuck on this. Very convincing. I don't blame you for knowing that. Oh, there's Liko. Welcome to the party, Liko. I must be missing something. It's okay. I guess I'll live with it. All right. It's probably enough for one day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for showing up, stepping up.
Can we unmute Deb now?
Yes,
Okay.
if we must. Oh, they'll have to do it.
Okay, unmute, guys. Okay, there you go. Say hi.
Bye.
Love you all.
Deb, you're unmuted, so you can say bye.
Bye.
Love you all. Thank you.
Love you.
Bye.
I'll
Thank
upload this
you.
ASAP.
Thank you.
Bye. Oh, you're being distracted.